Hey guys, welcome back to Tamarac's Treehouse. Before I break the table up, I wanted to share with you the City of Toriela. The party has made their way into this city in the far upper northwest of the continent, known as Toriela, which is predominantly a city of half-elves, humans, hodgepodge of a whole bunch of different races from this area that come and go and trade and whatnot. And Toriela is one of the larger cities inside the continent, so very respectable. There's a king and a queen. There's a princess that is heir to the throne, and the party kind of ventures forth. They are looking for a professor at the local university who can help one of the characters kind of fill in some blanks to where their mother is, and then we also have the child that was saved at one of the previous towns that they wanted to because he was a wild magic sorcerer and couldn't control his powers, and they wanted to bring it to this professor to see if he can maybe help him at the university. So I set up the city, had a lot of different adventures here so far. This has been up on the table now for probably 4 sessions, and I could probably keep it up for multiple more sessions, but I do need to break it down and change some things up. Also, this is the table that I paint on, and I wanna get some painting done this holiday weekend. So just set up some buildings, but we've got a couple different factions here. We've got the Red Cloaks and their little prison headquartered area, which is kind of nice. These are all 3D printed items from various different folks online. We've got, I think this is printable scenery here. We've got the big library where the big investigation here was that the party, while talking to the professor, gets summoned to the king's palace to find out that the princess is gone missing. They believe that she's been kidnapped, but there's a lot of questions about whether or not she ran away and whatnot. So they have to investigate and try to figure out what's going on with the princess and where she is. The princess Selena is known to kind of run off and do her own thing, but the king always has somebody that follows her, and she's never really been somebody that would run away on her own. She's never been gone this long, however, so the king fears for her and decides to recruit the Red Cloaks, which is basically the local constabulary. And because he's also panicking and he's kind of going mad because he's terrified that the heir to the kingdom is missing, he's also involved the local militia, which are the blue bands. And then he's also spoken to the Thieves Guild and reached out to them because they actually have this weird cordial relationship that the king lets certain things go on around the city as long as, the Thieves Guild provides him with information and also doesn't do things like, just outright murder people for no reason. But they can turn a profit. So he basically recruits this third-party group, our party, because of the heroics that he's heard about from the previous town, and says he can't really trust all the information that's been provided. He's got 3 factions, the Red Cloaks, the Blue Bands, and the Thieves Guild, and he believes that none of them are communicating with each other. He thinks that maybe somebody is not telling him the full amount of information and is holding out information. So he wants the party to kind of investigate the 3 parties that he's incorporated and see if they can piece together where the princess is based off the information that each of the parties has gotten. So this has led our party to run all over town. So they investigated the university, which is where she was last seen. They investigated the Red Cloaks and talked to their general there, and they actually haven't spoken to the Blue Bands yet, and this has been like 4 or 5 sessions, so we'll see what goes on there. But they have gone into the Thieves Guild. But ultimately, how this started was they went back to the university and effectively did some investigating, and I've got it where this thing can ultimately come apart. Right, so we could take this off, and inside, which I've already kind of broken down a little bit of it, but we've got. They did the investigating in here, and this is where a whole bunch of Red Cloaks were, and effectively they were able to find that there was a book that they got from the princess's room that they identified came from this library. So when they checked the shelf of where the book was, it was empty, and when they put the book back on the shelf, there was a secret passageway that opened up and led to this alleyway. So in the alleyway, They immediately suspected this mansion. They went and talked to the mansion, which turns out this is where the Memento Mori resides, which this is the sepulcher of heaven. They have already interacted with some of these folks, and this is where they can learn more about God's blood and all that type of stuff. So they had a little interaction there, but they were like, hey, this isn't what we're here for right now. We'll come back. And then that's where they kind of ventured off back into town and walked and went to the Thieves Guild. Now, how I handled this was, instead of breaking down the town, everywhere that they went, I effectively put these cups on the table. And I got this idea from Todd Michael Putnam on Creative Tabletop Designs, and effectively added in different things, different scenes that I had pre-built. Right, so I'll take some pictures of these and put these out on Instagram for everybody, but this is how I kind of handled it. Was anytime I needed to bring in a separate scene, I just had it pre-built in a 12 by 12 square, and then had the cups on the table, which I just basically added into the city. Right, so this here, for instance, is the king's throne. So when we were summoned to the king's court, this is where we had the different various characters that they were able to interact with, including the king and the queen, a Walruth type of character, and then the captain of the Red Cloaks, where they were able to talk to them, and also one of the counselors, which gave them some information. And then later on, when they moved on to the Thieves Guild, I was able to take this just off, and then off to the side, just grab another pre-built set and just add that right onto the table, like so. And then here we have it, where they interact with some of the Thieves Guild members, talk to the right-hand man of the master guild thief, Narek Blackhand, talk to him. This is Halftooth there. And then Halftooth, after convincing them that they were there to on behalf of the king, and they gave the secret phrase that was provided to them, Halftooth showed them the secret passageway, which led down to the depths of the other room that I have built for the Thieves Guild. Now, I have other various rooms of different buildings that they might have gone to, such as if they went to the inn, I have the inn. I also have a section where they can meet up with the Illuminators Guild and learn more about basically gunpowder in effect, which they call Starfire power, which is for the gunsmith, my gunslinger, to potentially learn a little bit about that and interact with some things about his backstory. We've also got some other areas like a Church of Selune, which they have not investigated yet. We could possibly, that's an area that they might be able to go to. And then they might also go to some of these other various areas like merchants guilds and a shop. So just wanted to share this as a nice table setup that I had, which I thought was pretty cool before I broke it down, to share with all of you. But this was a really good way to say, hey, I needed some leverage. I built an entire city here, but then when they started to interact into the buildings, they also went into the sewer and had a sewer fight. So I had a couple sewer scenes laid out that I've already broken down. And then, which was kind of nice, I just put more cups out here, and it was two 12 by 12 scenes in the sewer that they fought in. So just some ideas of saying, hey, if you got a smaller table space and you're trying to fill it with a lot of terrain, you can build these 12 by 12 sets and lay them down on these invisible cups, which you could just get on Amazon, these tumblers, and use them as really great. They're really good height, which, because of course I also have a remote player, and I was also able to just take my additional camera and throw it on some more cups, so it had the right height to show what was going on, in the scene. So he was able to see it, as well as my top-down camera, which is not the greatest angle, but it does give him the battlefield in effect. I also added in on another cup, I have a little spotlight, which I added basically right here, so it kind of shone over and just gave a little nice light effect for this area. And then, of course, when I was doing the sewer, I just used the old water ripple lights to give it that green sewer-like effect. So anyway, hope everybody enjoyed. If you have any questions, more than happy to answer. Leave them down in the comments below. If you like this, please like and subscribe. This is something I'm just kind of doing as a hobby, trying to kick this off, see if there's any interest in continuing to do this. But most of these items are Dwarvenforge or 3D printed, some WizKid minis and things like that. But a whole bunch of different really cool collaborators. I think this is like Ian Lovecraft. I think I actually recommended in a couple sets ago that he make a clock tower as one of his stretch goals, and he did, and I just think this thing is wonderful. But there's various content creators here, printable scenery, infinite games, infinite dimension games. I think some free things probably on Thingiverse, and the rest is really Dwarvenforge, which their sets are just. They're just outstanding. But now it's probably going to take me about a good hour to break this down and figure out how I want to build the next scene. So anyway, thanks. It's around Thanksgiving. If you're watching this, happy Thanksgiving. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks for visiting Tamarack Street House.